Hey everyone, this is Cheryl Morrison, your local Chicagoland real estate attorney, and today is such a nice, sunny, bright day. It is such a great change of pace from our gloomy winter weather here in the Chicagoland area, and it's got me thinking about spring, and maybe it's got you thinking about spring too. Hopefully spring is actually here soon, but regardless, the spring time of year is a really busy time for real estate. People are buying and selling homes, and people are also renting homes as well. It is a really busy time for people to rent homes come spring. So if that's you and you're thinking about renting an apartment or a house, I just had a few tips for you today. First off, it's really important to know that as a tenant, you have rights and responsibilities to that property and to your landlord. And your landlord has rights and responsibilities to you with regard to the property as well. Most of those rights and responsibilities are laid out in the lease agreement that you'll need to sign. Depending on where you are looking to lease, there might also be local ordinances that could apply to you as well. So it's really important to know exactly what is going to happen before you sign any paperwork that will obligate you to not only pay rent, but also, agree to those rules. So here's a few tips for you. You might not be thinking about hiring an attorney if you're going to sign a lease for an apartment, but I want you to consider it if you fall into one of these three categories. First, if you've never rented an apartment before, or you've never rented in this particular area before. If you haven't, you probably aren't familiar with all the different details that renting a place entails, and you really want to make sure that you are prepared before you obligate yourself to pay rent on this particular place. So that would be definitely a number one indication that you should have a professional there to guide you through this process. The second reason that you might want to hire an attorney if you are renting a home or apartment is if the lease that they're asking you to sign is not on a recognized standardized form. There are standard forms that many realtors associations put out. There are also standardized forms that the bar associations sometimes put out. And if you're using one of those, while each and every form has its different it skews one way or the other in different areas. By and large, those are decent leases. Now, if you're not using one of those, however, I would really be suspect that there's something major that is changed from those standard forms that, you might not really want in there. So that's the second reason that you might want to hire an attorney. And the third one is if when you're being honest with yourself, if you really aren't going to read through the paperwork at all. I know that leases and legal paperwork is not always the most interesting reading material. I absolutely get that. And a lot of people just like to, look to make sure their name is on it and check an amount and then just sign away. And that's really not a smart decision to do that way. You just never know what's in there, and you would hate to be caught in a situation where there's something in there that you aren't aware of that could cause you troubles down the road. So those are my three tips. Now, if you do decide that you want to have a lawyer look over your lease before you sign it, please rest assured that it is not very expensive. Most lawyers are probably going to be charging you a flat fee that is fairly minimal, and so you'll be able to get the help that you need without putting out a ton of cash to get it. So it is money that is well spent, especially if you are a new renter or the form is a little bit funky, or you really aren't going to be taking a thorough look through the paperwork itself. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Happy house renting, and I'll talk to you later.